Mickey G,
And I'm Rodney T.
and welcome to this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School. Hey, Rodney, how was your Thanksgiving, brother?
Hey man, it was Thanksgiving. I enjoyed the family aspect, and I appreciate it. But like I said, I had a good Native American friend up here. I got a whole new lease on Thanksgiving.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. I was, this is still when I was in the military. I was talking about Thanksgiving. He said, "Well, man, that ain't no happy time for us." I was like, "Really? I never thought about it." Like, they offered Thanksgiving to them pilgrims that came over here and brought them disease and murder and everything else. So
Mm-hmm.
they have a different outlook on it. So I've kind of had one ever since too, being sensitive to, just like we be sensitive to stuff.
All right.
I can appreciate where he's coming from. So it's one of those deals where we, unlike that last president we had, he disrespected all the norms and all that. Well, I understand that. So that's why I kind of sided with my friend there. I still celebrate it because that's what we've done my whole life. So,
Right.
but with a newfound respect for what Native Americans went through.
Yeah. That's why we all had gotten together the weekend before uh, for my niece's wedding, so all the family was there for that. So we decided we weren't going to get together as a whole family for Thanksgiving. So sort of everybody was on their own, and since Marion had her knee surgery, and I knew she wasn't going to be able to do the traditional Thanksgiving meal, and I know I ain't got the expertise to do
I
all
hear
that.
you.
We just sort of had ours catered, but I was talking to some family members who I won't name, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how what did y'all do for Thanksgiving and everything, and every one of them, their biggest concern was that they had some chitlins for Thanksgiving. Now, I'm like, now we used to do that when we got together as a group, as a family.
Yeah.
And I always told them, I said, y'all can eat all the chitlins y'all want. I mean, it's your house. You can cook whatever you want to cook. But I said, I need some turkey and dressing. I ain't eating no chitlins.
Yes, sir.
And all they was concerned about was having some chitlins ready for Thanksgiving. Even my mom, my sister said, yeah, your mama said as long as we had some chitlins, she was good. And I'm like, how can y'all eat that stuff? But see, I guess I might have to get off my 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 black card because people say, well, you ain't no brother, you don't eat chitlins. Well, I might have to give up my card if it comes to eating that stuff. I tried. My mama tried to cook it in different ways growing up, so I could try. She even battered and fried it one time. I just can't eat it.
Nah, me either, man. Like I said, your car won't be the only one in that hat. I do enjoy one of the things about Thanksgiving. I enjoy the family aspect more than I do anything else.
Yeah.
When we're in there, everybody getting together and just celebrating family. That's what Thanksgiving is to me. And but no, man, I can't eat no chillins, man. I done tried. I ate them. I think I had so much Louisiana hot sauce on them. I don't even know what the chitlins taste like. Cause I had them swimming in that stuff, but I can't handle it.
Yeah. Well, my barber, he sounds like you. I was talking to him about it, and he said he eats them. He said he eats them. He said, but I have it doused in so much hot sauce. He said, I don't know, Mickey, if I'm tasting the chitlins or the hot sauce. And
Exactly.
he was telling me about going over to this one soul food restaurant we have in town, and it's a cafeteria style, so they have all the food out on the line. You just walk through and tell them, point out what you want. He said, man, I went over there, and it was about this time last year. It was going up to Thanksgiving time, and he said, man, they had them chitlins out there on the line. He said, I walked in there and I looked down there and saw them chitlins. And I'm like, oh, boy, y'all need to have that stuff in the back. Y'all don't need to have that out on the line. And he said, about the time he looked down there, said the guy that runs the restaurant, his mother came out with one of them pans and said she dumped some more chitlins in that pan. And he said, Mickey, that chitlin juice went everywhere. he said, He said juice was popping off in the mashed potatoes and juice was popping off in the macaroni and cheese. He said, he said himself, now that's why you don't have chitlins out here on the main line. You got them chitlin juice everywhere. And I was just dying laughing at him, man. I said, I can understand that too. I said, because I'm just not a chitlin either. He said, I'll eat them. He said, my wife don't like them. So whenever I eat them, if I got them at home, I got to eat them and get rid of them. I can't let
Oh
them linger
man.
around. I can't leave them in a pot on the stove. I got to cook them, eat them, and get rid of them because she don't like it either. And I said, yeah, man. He said, matter of fact, he's a barber. He said, one of my barbers that used to be in the shop with me, he said, he went over there and got some chitlins that same year. And he said, before he even got back to the shop, had to stop and throw up. He said, I can't say it was the chitlins. He said, but that was about all I had to eat that day. He said, I'm almost certain that's what it was. And I said, man, that was another thing that always turned me off about chitlins when I was growing up. Because
Yeah,
my
buddy.
mama always used to say when she'd buy that, what was it, 5 or 10 pound red bucket of chitlins,
Yeah.
she'd always say, man, I always reclean these chitlins because you can't, go by the fact that they say they've been cleaned already. And she would go through and she'd have a pile of fat and skin and stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, if you gotta be that cautious about something you're gonna eat, I don't know if I want to eat it
Exactly.
either. But of course, I understand what flows through chitlins. So I mean, you want to
Right.
make sure that stuff is all clean. And I told my barber, I said, well, maybe that they hadn't cleaned them chitlins good enough.
Right. Well, you know it happens, man. You know it happens. My grandmother, boy, it was like surgery in there when she got a bucket of them things and was cleaning them up there. I remember her leaning over the sink with that. I guess she was going through every crack and crevice, but she didn't have to worry about me because I ain't want none of that mess. Well, I had a dude talk about me bad, when I was in the military. He was like, "Yo, man," he said, "You don't eat chitlins. Do you eat pig feet?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I eat pig feet." He said, "So you won't eat the intestines, but you eat the feet." Well, ain't too much shit flowing through, you know. And I'll tell you another one that I like. Now, and a lot of this I didn't eat until I got in the military, but I like the heck out of some oxtails, man. Oxtails are fantastic and expensive too. But when I started eating pig feet, was you remember when we were living over in the establishment down there in San Antonio,
Oh yeah.
and you remember the security guard Art?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I should say the guard Art because there wasn't much security
Security.
behind.
Yeah, I know.
And at that time, Rosa was working. She had an odd shift. We had the one car, so depending on when I left the little club in the apartment complex, whether I got up or not to take her to work so I could have the car. More times than not, I didn't have the car.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was sitting out there, and I lived at that time. He had moved across from me, and we in the breezeway. He and there, Art used to get drunk and go to sleep, burn up food. I don't know how many times I walked in there and cut the stove off on him. But anyway, God rest his soul. Anyway, we were sitting out there like, man, I gotta get me something to eat. And he was like, "Do you eat pig feet?" I'm like, "Hell no, I don't eat no damn pig feet." He said, "Boy, you don't know what you're missing." He said, "I got some," and I never heard of this. Never saw my grandmother and them do that. He said, "I'm cooking some pig feet and neck bone." I'm like, "What? Together?" He was like, "Yeah." Well, needless to say, we had been sitting out there in the breezeway, tipping the glass and stuff. So at a certain point, I'm like, "Hey, Art, yeah, I think I'll take a bowl." Man, you should have heard that hall, that breezeway in there. Oh, he's sucking on them. That stuff is good. I started eating them after that, but like Rosin, like, no, you ain't eating this on no regular. You can. I'll fix you some. If I fix you some today, you ain't getting them for a long time. So, but yeah, I never ate that growing up. And my grandmother, they were some good cooks, man. I never ate that, man.
Well, my mama, she cooked every part of pig that you could cook.
Oh
The
yeah,
feet, the tail.
yeah.
They take the head and get hog head cheese made and crackling rendered up and all that kind of stuff. The
Hmm.
ears, the tongue. I couldn't eat. I just like the ear. The ear ain't nothing but cartilage. It ain't
Yep.
no meat on the ear. And when it came to eating the pig feet, I had a hard time finding much meat on pig feet.
No, ain't none. Oh,
Yeah,
it's some, but that's like the prize when you find.
that's what I was saying too. 'Cause I remember back when we was in the dorm, the guys would run through there, and one guy in particular, I ain't gonna call his name, but he'd come through there with them pickle pig feet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
eating them pickle pig feet. And
That's
he
what
said,
we
"Hey
used to
man,
eat when we go fishing.
yeah, don't you want some of these pickle pig?" I'm like, "No, I don't want no pickle pig feet." But he would eat he'd have the whole jar. He did a jar at a time.
Oh,
But I just
you talk about AB.
no,
No, not him.
no. I'm talking about
Don't
I'm trying to
call
think
a
what he,
name if you didn't
I'm
want to
trying to think
call.
about what his initials are. I can't think of his initials are. The one that said he was a bad man.
uh, God.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You know I'm talking. I ain't gonna call his
Oh
name.
yeah. Oh hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah, yeah.
officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
The non bad man. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
he would
Hmm.
come through with them pickled pig feet, but I just couldn't eat any of that. I'm excited. The chitlins and the tails and
Hmm.
the ears and all that. Now I did hear. I was listening to the local station out of Nashville that plays R&B. Now they were talking on there one morning about that oxtail and oxtail soup.
Oh
I,
man.
I don't think I've ever tried it, but they were talking about how good that was.
Yes indeed. Yes indeed. It is and again, I didn't eat that when I was at home. I
Hmm.
came on leave. I came home on leave one time and I took money with me.
Hmm.
And so I'm speeding down the turnpike, get pulled over by a cop. And he's like, "Hey, where you heading?" I said, "Yeah, I'm heading to my hometown to see my parents. I'm getting ready to deploy for Desert Storm. I wasn't been more getting ready to deploy for Desert Storm, and a Man in the Moon. So, yeah, so I'm just trying to get down here to see my folks before I have to pull." Then he said, "Hey, slow down and be safe." I said, "All right, officer, I'll definitely do that." And we went down there. My mom had cooked some oxtail stew. Man, me and Money was fighting over that oxtail stew. That's the first time I had it. And Rosin fixes it for me now every so often.
Hmm.
But the moral to that story is, don't lie. When I got back, we got notified we were going to deploy right after Christmas.
Yeah, that as my daughter says, that's that karma
that,
working.
that, that's that karma. I done lied to get out of this ticket. Yeah, I'm trying to get home, because I'm getting ready to deploy. I'm laughing all, yeah, I got out of that one. Yeah, I got when I got back. Yeah, y'all be ready.
Yeah, like you say, that karma could be something else. I tell you.
Oh
Yeah, but I just I was laughing at them when they were telling me about they just went and just made sure that they had some chitlins. They were okay. I said, well, I
yeah,
guess life is simple. When if you're happy by cause you got a batch of chitlins in there to eat, I guess life is okay.
I guess, man. I just ain't never been able to do it. Growing up when we grew up, you basically had to eat what was cooked.
Right,
But
right.
at least my folks took pity on me because there was a couple of things, man, like liver. Oh no, I ain't eating that. They
You
would
don't
pick
eat liver?
hell no.
Oh man, some liver, all with a bunch of onion on top of it. Oh my goodness.
You can do the Sarah Palin, and put lipstick on a pig. It ain't gonna work. I
Man, I love me some liver.
Man, I can't. It's like when you put it in your mouth, it explodes. It's like what? Oh, good God Almighty! I cannot. And I'm a sucker for some smothered meat.
Right.
A couple of times, we went out. We was playing ball and stuff. Went out. We didn't eat out that much. We ate at home. Get out there in the restaurant. So I'm seeing this because I'm a sucker for some smothered meat with some rice or some mashed potatoes. Boy, I loaded that plate up, got that stuff in there, and I'm like, what is this? Man, I can't do it. I can't do that liver. Can't do them chitlins. And pretty much everything else I can eat. I never was a big seafood lover, but I like a little fish now. But
Yeah, matter of fact, we was down to the commissary this past Friday.
yeah,
Man, got a pack of a liver down there. Man, she can cook it up, put a little flour on it, and bread it just a little bit, and then smother that thing in onions, boy. Because we're the
see,
same way. We grew up eating just about anything, rabbits, squirrels. My mom and them, they would get at least a goat at least once or twice a year, and back there, back home, you could go buy stuff live. We had a place down in we call Depot Bottom. You could go down and buy live chickens and rabbits and stuff, and you could go down and buy goats. And they used to. I don't know why we weren't traumatized as kids to we didn't have our right mind. Man, they go get them goats and they let the goats, eat all day. They bring them in, go buy them in the morning, put them out there around the hedges, let them eat on them hedges. And then they get ready to kill them, man. The first thing they do is slit their throat, and all that green stuff would fly out their throat and stuff. And we were little kids, we'd running around screaming and carrying on. And then, and then they would go and skin that goat and stuff. And I tell you, I can't hardly stand the smell of chitlins cooking,
oh no,
but goat cooking ain't much better.
I hear you.
I mean, you talking about a wild kind of smell. My mom would go in there and she would try everything she could to try to keep
Well,
that smell down. She'd put onions in there and stuff like that. Still, you could smell it all through the house when that goat would be cooking. But they would eat that goat, and I never really got a really good taste for it. I would eat it, just like you
right,
said, because it was there. That's what you
right.
were going to eat if you was going to eat. But it never got that kind of taste of where I just say, oh yeah, man, I got to have me some goat. But yeah, they would do goats, and my dad would go down there and get a chicken and bring it home, and you know little chicken, riding in the trunk of the car. It's on the way home, and we little kids talking about, yeah, we got a little chicken, and he'd put it out in the yard. It cluck around the yard, and then he'd go out there and grab it by the neck and wring his neck, and the thing is jumping all over the yard and flopping around everywhere.
Hey,
And we and there once again we're running around screaming because this dead chicken with no head on is flopping around the yard. I'm like, it ain't a wonder that we all ain't crazy, man.
man, I'm here to tell you, I see all of our grandparents were pretty much from the country, so
Hmm.
they did all of that stuff. Uh, my grandmother, which was my everything, I lived with her. She lived right across the street from us. I stayed with her, and she could cook up behind. But she had a sister down in what we call the country. That's where all of us come from, anyway. And they had a house down there, probably. So she would go spend the weekend with her sister every so often. Well, I was like a little shadow, and it's like, oh no. Even when I didn't want to go, which was unusual for me not want to follow her, even when I didn't want to go, they made me go. Man, I went down there and went, and all the part of not wanting to go happened after this episode. We went down there. Okay, first off, wasn't no arch lights. When it gets sundown, it's dark. And then I had some little cousins down there. They grew up down there. Bug had me sticking my hand in the pig pen. Boy, I ain't know no better. I stuck my hand in there. That pig almost knocked that doggone fence down trying to get. I was like, oh Lord. I'm like, what have I got myself into? And then so we were sitting there, her and her sister. She was like, they were like, sister, what you want for dinner? So I think I might like some chicken. So I'm putting my shoes on. We finna go up to Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's all I knew, you know. And they were like, "Oh no," they were like, I remember they had a steep back porch you had to step down. Now, my grandmother was a hefty one, and so was her sister.
Mm-hmm.
They navigated that like it wasn't nothing. I'm the one sitting up there. Oh, help me! And so we get down there. So I'm still thinking we going to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right.
And like I said, my grandmother was a hefty woman, so they had chickens free range
Right.
out there. So I saw them work in tandem and block this chicken off. And man, I saw my grandmother move as fast as I've ever seen anybody move. She caught that chicken by the neck and wah wah wah. And I'm standing, I'm traumatized. I'm standing there, the chicken running around, blood spouting out, the
Yeah.
neck, the head is over here. I'm like, what the? I'm like, what the hell is that? And the chicken ran around and ran around. I was like, oh man. The next thing I know, they had one. The other one had got some boiling water going. Next thing I know, the chicken is in there. They pulling the feathers off. I'm just sitting there like, I'm not eating that. I am not eating that. And boy, they got that chicken and fried him up. I was like, oh no. Just so happened, praise God, saved the brother, Mr. Strong. 2 houses down, ran a little country store out of there. That whole weekend, I was dying there, bro. I ate dill pickles with a peppermint stick stuck in it, chocolate milk, and Cheetos. The whole weekend, I'm like, I ain't eating nothing out of that house. I was like, they had a smokehouse out there too, man. They're going in, all that meat hanging down. I was like, oh
Hmm.
my lord, I ain't never seen nothing like it.
Yeah.
But I never wanted to go back after that.
Yeah. We had a smokehouse too. We didn't actually we raised pigs every year for a long time while I was growing up, and we take them. And my uncle he had this illegal slaughterhouse on the side of this creek in this little town down called Viola, and we take them down there, and he'd slaughter them for us, and he would come and he would salt it down. He would put it in a salt box, and
Mm-hmm.
then it would stay in that salt for I don't know how long. Then my dad would get it out and just hang it on the rafters of the shed that it was in, and let it hang out there, man. And I know one time, because you had to be careful with even though it was sort of salt cured, it could still go bad.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
still remember they uh, they had a ham hanging out there, and it was starting to go bad. And my dad was talking to somebody about it, and they said, "Man, all you need to do is take that ham and bury it in the ground."
Huh?
And my daddy said, "What? Take it and bury it in the ground." My daddy took that ham, buried it in the ground. I think it was in the ground for like a week or two. He went out there and dug that ham up, and all that bad part, that mold and stuff that was on there, was gone.
What?
Now, I didn't eat the ham anyway. I ain't taking my chance. I ain't eating that ham anyway. Man, he brought that ham in there. My mama put it in the stove and cooked that ham. They still lived. No, they had no problem. So I don't know if it was something like the stuff in the dirt took it out. I don't
Yeah.
know what did it, but he buried that ham, and he dug that ham up in a few weeks, and they took it and they cooked that ham and ate it. But yeah, I mean, the little stuff like that, man. Like I said, you want to get some bacon, he'd run out there to the shed and go up there and cut off a hunk of that midland, as they call it, and come in there, slice that bad boy up, and that was our bacon. We had that kind of bacon. We had that what they call the hog jaw, the
Yeah, yeah.
jaw of the head of the pig. They make that kind of bacon and stuff, man. That's what we grew up on. I mean, and they
Yeah,
had a
man.
little garden for a while. We didn't. I mean, my mom, she'd go shopping at the store for stuff, but a lot of the stuff we grew up on was fresh. And I must admit, growing up as a kid, I really didn't care for it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I would eat the canned stuff at school during lunch and stuff, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, well, that don't taste like the peas and corn at school. I don't like that, And
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of a picky eater growing up. Now I look back on it and I'm thinking, I mean, they ate all them different kind of greens. That's something else. I mean, I'll eat some
Yeah.
cabbage and I'll eat some collard greens if when Marion does them up. We don't eat collards hardly at all anymore. We
Mm.
about all we eat like that now is cabbage. But my mom and them would eat turnip green. They
Oh
would eat
yeah.
poke salad. They'd eat creasy greens.
Yes,
They'd eat
sir.
all that kind of stuff, man.
See, I now I eat all of that. My uh, right next door to my grandparents was a family that lived there. Their name was Strong. Well,
Hmm.
I ain't thought about it until now. But yeah, they lived next door. Well, their house burned down, and they got another house somewhere else, but they kept that property. And they had this big, uh, um, what am I talking? The big garden.
Right, right,
They grew everything: corn, peas. I mean, you name it, greens, cabbage. You know, you just name it, they had it. And that was back in the day when people had integrity and when they were, they didn't nobody go over there because the people were so nice. You know, they grew so much they would just give it to you.
give it away. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And they at the time I didn't like them because we knew every Saturday morning there was gonna be some purple hull sheep peas, some corn that they done sit inside of our screen porch there. So first chore when you got up was we cleaned up the house. Once we cleaned up the house, now I'm trying to get to the gym. Well, you gotta. I asked my grandpa when I said, "Why do I have to shell these peas?" All he said was, "You eat them, don't you?" Well, I guess I ain't got no more questions on that. Man, we was shucking corn and doing them peas and whatever else they had us doing, man. And once you did that, then you on your own. But I got used to eating those fresh vegetables because I remember when I first married my wife, her mom, she used a lot of the canned stuff.
right.
We used some of the canned stuff, like, and this is how bougie I guess I was trying to act. My grandmother only bought like Del Monte. So when me and Rosa got married, she came in there with some off the wall name stuff. Oh, look here, look here. We don't eat nothing but Del Monte up in this joint. She just looked at me like, I'm gonna show you. And because it wasn't nowhere, we was in San Antonio, unless you went down to the farmer's market. But hell, I didn't even know where the farmer's market was to get
Right.
no fresh vegetables. And so I'm sitting there thinking I'm ruling this shit. We ain't eating no. If it ain't their money, don't bring it up. And my dumb self, I ain't even looking in the cabinet. So we were sitting there one day, and she's like, "How does that taste?" Oh yeah, it tastes all right. She said, "Well, that's not Del Monte." I was ready to fight, man. Because I had to fess up. Yeah, it's good, but it wasn't Del Monte, boy. So I got out of that real quick, boy. But yeah, growing up, man, we had nothing but fresh stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's the way we did too. We had, fresh vegetables and meat. Like I said, we didn't kill pigs every year, so we always had a lot of fresh pork. And the same thing. Guys would go out hunting squirrels and rabbits, and they just went just for the sport of hunting. They really didn't want. They'd come by with, they'd already have them skinned and everything. They was ready to fry. They'd bring
Yeah,
them by.
yeah,
Y'all want some squirrel? Y'all want some rabbit? Yeah, here you go. They would just give them away. They really, they really didn't hunt them so much for the meat. They just wanted to go out and hunt.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, we had that, and then other people would bring stuff by that maybe my mom and dad didn't grow in their garden. If they did, they'd bring some of that by, and we give them some. They'd give them some of the
yeah.
stuff that they had in their garden. So yeah, that's how I grew up too. But it just so far away from that now. I mean, I just couldn't imagine going
No,
out and planting a garden. Now I do to go down to the farmers market when they have the farmers market here and get some fresh stuff. But
yeah.
we've sort of gotten away from that. But you was talking about the Del Monte. We were uh, a week or so ago. We had ran out of peach preserves,
Hmm.
and Marion was saying, that she had looked at Walmart and Kroger, and she just couldn't find any peach preserves. So she went and she went to one of the dollar stores. I don't know if it's Dollar General, Dollar Tree, or Dollar. We got like 30 different dollar
Yeah,
stores around
yeah.
here. And she came back with their brand of peach preserves. And I looked at her. I said, huh, we don't eat Smuckers around. We don't eat no, it's like she said, we only do Del Monte. I said, we only eat Smuckers around here. She said, well, I couldn't find no Smuckers. All I could find, this is peach preserve. I said, okay. I went in there and put it on the top shelf of the pantry. And a day or two later, she came in there with, and she had some Smuckers. I said, yeah, we'll open this Smuckers now and treat this. I just thought about that when you said that. I'm like, oh, we eat Smuckers around here. We don't eat this
Yeah, man.
stuff. And knowing, and it's probably all from the same place.
Yeah.
Knowing
They
how they
just,
do things this day, it's probably all from the exact same place.
yeah, they just changed the label on
Just
the
change the
glass.
label on it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably the same stuff. But I know that. I know we was having a this before I think I got out of the military. We was having a picnic, company picnic, office kind of picnic kind of thing, and they were talking about getting stuff for it and sodas and things, and they said, yeah, who's gonna get the sodas? And somebody said, okay, I'll go out to Walmart and get them, and or was it? No, it was a Kmart. I think we had a Kmart there. I'll go
Mm.
out to Kmart and get them. I looked at them. I said, don't come out there with none of them big K sodas. I said, I want Coke and Pepsi. I said, once
Yes,
again,
sir.
they probably all come from the same place, but
Yeah.
I just, for some reason, the times I've tried to drink a big case soda, it just didn't taste like a regular Coke or a
No,
Pepsi, you
no, it
know.
don't. No, it
So
don't, man.
I'm like, no, don't come back here with none of that big case stuff. You got to get the name brand stuff.
Yes, sir. I'm with you on that now.
Folks, we hope everybody had a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
This is Mickey G,
And I'm Rodney T.
and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.